If you're staring down retirement and feel like everyone else already figured it out, watch this. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are exactly on time to build a real plan. Be honest. How many nights have you lain awake doing retirement math in your head? Every scroll through social media shows another friend retiring early, buying a boat, traveling the world. And it makes you feel like you missed some secret memo everyone else received. Here is the truth nobody tells you. Most people who look ahead are actually improvising too. Panic is not a plan. Comparison is not math. Neither one builds you a single extra dollar. What actually works is a clear, honest, step-by-step plan built around your real numbers. In the next few minutes, I am going to walk you through exactly how to close the gap. No jargon, no shame, no pretending you have decades left to fix everything slowly. We will look at your real savings, the habits quietly draining you, and the moves that matter most. By the end, you will have an actual timeline, not vague advice, a plan you can start tonight. This works whether you have 20 years left to save or far fewer than that. So take a breath. Put the guilt down for a second. Let's build something real together. We start by tearing apart the biggest lie keeping you frozen, the idea that you are already late. Let's talk about that word, late. It feels like a fact, but it is almost always just a feeling. Late compared to what, exactly? Compared to who? Most of us never actually answer that question. We just absorb a vague number from a magazine article we skimmed once, years ago. Then we carry that number around like a verdict, never checking if it even applies to us. Social media makes it worse, much worse. It shows you everyone's highlight reel, never their spreadsheet. That friend posting from a beach in Portugal might be one bad year from real trouble. You never see the loan behind the boat. You never see the debt behind the new kitchen. You only see the surface, and the surface is designed to look effortless. Comparing your real life to someone else's highlight reel is not information. It is self-sabotage. Here's something most people never hear. There is no single finish line for retirement readiness. Your number depends on your health, your city, your family, your goals. Nobody else's timeline matters. A guy who retires at 55 with debt is not ahead of you. He just moved faster into risk. A woman still working at 70 by choice, doing work she loves, is not behind either. The feeling of being late usually comes from silence, from avoiding the number instead of facing it. It is easier to feel vaguely anxious than to sit down and calculate something specific and scary. So the anxiety just sits there, humming in the background of every single day. It shows up when you check your bank balance and quickly look away. It shows up when a coworker mentions their 401k and you change the subject fast. It shows up at family dinners when someone jokes about retiring early and the room goes quiet. None of that avoidance changes your actual number. It only delays the moment you find out. Here's the good news buried inside the bad feeling. Feelings can be wrong. Math can be fixed. You cannot argue your way out of debt, but you absolutely can plan your way out of panic. Think about the last time you actually solved a real problem instead of just worrying about it. That feeling of relief afterward. That is what a real plan gives you. Not perfection, relief. So let's stop asking whether you are late. That question has no useful answer anyway. Let's ask a better question instead. Where exactly do you stand right now, today? That question has a real answer, and getting that answer is step one of this entire plan. Most people avoid this step for years. It takes maybe 20 honest minutes. 20 minutes of discomfort now, versus years of quiet dread later. That trade is worth making. So grab a notebook, or open a blank spreadsheet, because we are about to get specific. This is not about judging your past choices. It is about finally seeing them clearly. You cannot fix what you refuse to look at. So today, we look. Not with fear, with curiosity. Like an engineer inspecting a bridge, not a judge handing down a sentence. Because here's the thing about bridges. Most problems found early are cheap and simple to fix. Problems ignored for another decade become expensive, or worse, unfixable. Your retirement plan works exactly the same way. Early honesty is cheap, late honesty is expensive. So let's be the engineer today, not the person who keeps driving over the cracked bridge anyway. Here is a truth that surprises almost everyone once they actually run their numbers. The gap is almost never as catastrophic as the fear made it feel in the middle of the night. Fear tends to imagine the worst possible number. Math usually finds something more workable. That does not mean there is nothing to do. It means the work is doable, not hopeless. Doable is a word you can build a life around. Hopeless is not. So let's stay in doable. All right, feelings examined, comparisons dismissed. Now let's get into the real, honest number. This next part is the single most important 20 minutes in this entire video. Stay with me. Step 1 is simple to describe and uncomfortable to do. Get an honest number. Just one. Not a guess. Not a rounded estimate you whispered to yourself once at a dinner party. An actual number, pulled from actual accounts, written down where you can see it. Start by listing every retirement account you have. Every single one. Even the ones you forgot about. That old 401k from a job you left 12 years ago. Yes, that one counts too. Add up every checking account, savings account, and investment account into one total. Then subtract what you owe. Credit cards, car loans, remaining mortgage, anything with a balance. What is left is your real net worth, not your income. Not your house value on paper, your net worth. Write that number down. Circle it. Look at it for a full 10 seconds without flinching. However you feel about it right now, that feeling is not useful information. The number is. Next, figure out your retirement gap using one simple rough formula anyone can do by hand. Take your desired yearly retirement income and multiply it by roughly 25. That rough total is a common estimate for what you would need saved to support that income. It is not perfect, it is not personalized yet, but it gives you a real target to compare against. Now subtract your current savings from that target. That difference is your gap. Whatever that gap number looks like, breathe. You are not solving it tonight. You are just seeing it. Seeing it is the entire point of step 1. You cannot navigate fog with your eyes closed. Most people who feel behind have actually never done this simple exercise. Not even once. They carry a vague dread instead of a specific number, and vague dread never gets smaller on its own. A specific number, on the other hand, can be reduced, piece by piece, month by month. Let me tell you about a man I'll call Daniel, 52, a warehouse supervisor. Daniel avoided checking his retirement accounts for almost 6 years. The dread had become a habit. When he finally sat down and did the math, his gap was real, but far smaller than his imagination had built. 6 years of dread, for a problem that took him 22 minutes to actually measure. That is the real cost of avoidance, not the number itself, but the years spent afraid of it. So, if you have not run this number yet, pause this video right now and go do it. I mean it. 20 minutes. I'll still be here when you get back. For everyone who already knows their number, or just finished finding it, here is what comes next. A number by itself is not a plan, it is a starting point. The plan comes from what you do with it, and the very next question determines almost everything that follows. What does enough actually mean to you? Not what a magazine says enough means. Not what your neighbor's boat implies enough means. What enough means for the actual life you want to live in 10, 15, 20 years. Some people picture travel. Some people picture simply not worrying about a grocery bill ever again. Some people picture time with grandchildren, unrushed, unscheduled, unpaid for by anyone but themselves. Your version of enough is personal, and it changes the entire math behind your gap. This is where most generic retirement advice completely falls apart. It assumes everyone wants the same thing. You are not everyone. Your plan should not be built for everyone. It should be built for you. So take a moment. Picture an ordinary Tuesday, 5 years into retirement. What does it actually look like? Where do you wake up? What do you do with your morning? Who is there with you? That picture, however simple or ambitious, is the real target behind the number you calculated. Now here is a practical trick. Take your monthly expenses today and separate them into 2 piles. Pile 1, things that disappear once you retire. Commuting costs, work clothes, that expensive lunch habit. Pile 2, things that stay or grow. Healthcare, hobbies, travel, time with family. This simple split often shows your real retirement number is smaller than the generic internet formula suggested. Smaller does not mean small, it means specific. And specific is something you can actually plan around. Now let's talk about one of the biggest advantages you actually have at this stage of life. Catch-up contributions. Most people your age have never even heard the term. Once you cross a certain age, tax-advantaged retirement accounts let you contribute significantly more each year. This exists specifically because lawmakers understood that people need to accelerate savings later in their careers. It is one of the few places in the tax code built entirely in your favor. If your employer offers a retirement plan with matching contributions, that match is free money. Take all of it. Leaving employer match on the table is like refusing part of your own paycheck out of habit. Next, look at tax-advantaged individual accounts, the kind where your money grows without yearly tax drag. Every extra dollar you route into these accounts compounds quietly, year after year, working while you sleep. You do not need to max out every account overnight. You need to increase your contribution rate steadily. Even an extra 1% of your paycheck this year compounds meaningfully over the next 15 years. Small increases feel invisible day to day. They are anything but invisible over a decade. Let me tell you about Patricia, 58, a school administrator who felt she had missed her window. She increased her retirement contribution by just 3% and used every dollar of catch-up room available. Within 7 years, her projected retirement income had shifted more than she believed possible at her age. She told me the hardest part was not the math. It was believing the math still applied to her. It does. Compounding does not check your birth certificate before it goes to work. Here is your action item. Call your plan provider or log into your account this week. Ask exactly how much more you are allowed to contribute given your age and account type. Then increase your contribution by even a small amount today. Not next month. Today. Future you will not remember the minor discomfort of this week's smaller paycheck. Future you will absolutely remember the difference those extra contributions made. Dollar by dollar, year by year. All right, contributions handled. Now let's find the money to fund them without feeling deprived. Most budgeting advice tells you to cut lattes and small pleasures. That advice is mostly useless. Cutting $5 pleasures rarely moves a retirement number. It just makes life feel smaller. What actually moves the needle is finding 1 or 2 large, silent expenses quietly draining you every month. These are the expenses you barely notice because they auto-renew, auto-pay, and auto-drain. Start with your largest recurring bill that is not housing. Usually it hides in plain sight. Car payments on a vehicle bought for status rather than need are a classic silent drain. Insurance policies never reshopped in a decade are another. Rates creep up quietly every single year. Let me tell you about Frank, 61, a retired firefighter who felt his budget was already tight. We found a single insurance bundle he had not reviewed in 11 years, badly overpriced for his situation. One phone call, one afternoon, and he freed up real monthly cash without changing his lifestyle at all. That freed up cash went straight into his retirement contribution the very next paycheck. So here is your task. Find your 1 or 2 silent leaks. Not 10, just 1 or 2. Trying to cut everything at once fails almost every time. Trying to fix one real leak actually works. Pull up your bank statement this week and look for the recurring charge that makes you wince slightly. That wince is data. Trust it, investigate it, then decide, honestly, if it still deserves your money. Cutting is powerful, but cutting alone has a ceiling. There is only so much you can trim. At some point, the fastest way to close your gap is not spending less, it is earning more. That idea might make you nervous. Stick with me, because this is more achievable than you think. Increasing income does not necessarily mean a second exhausting job or a risky career gamble. Sometimes it means finally asking for the raise you have quietly earned but never requested. Sometimes it means a skill upgrade that shifts your entire earning trajectory for the rest of your career. And sometimes it means a modest side project that fits around the life you already have. Let me tell you about Carla, 49, a nurse who assumed her income was permanently fixed. She picked up a single certification that qualified her for a higher pay tier at her hospital. 6 months of study, evenings and weekends, for a raise that compounds every single year she keeps working. That single decision did more for her retirement gap than 5 years of careful lunch budgeting ever could. Here is a question worth sitting with. What skill do you already have that is currently underpriced? Somewhere in your experience is knowledge other people would pay for. Most of us undervalue exactly that. You do not need a dramatic career change. You need one deliberate move that shifts your income upward. Write down one realistic way you could increase your income by even a small percentage this year. Not a fantasy, a realistic move you could actually start within the next 30 days. Cutting expenses buys you room. Increasing income buys you speed. You want both working together. Now let's talk about where all this saved and earned money should actually sit and grow. Investment strategy is where fear tends to push people toward two opposite, equally costly mistakes. Mistake 1. Staying too conservative. Keeping everything in cash out of fear of losing what you have. Cash feels safe, but inflation quietly erodes it every single year you leave it sitting idle. Mistake 2. Staying too aggressive. Chasing high-risk investments because you feel you need to catch up fast. Panic-driven risk-taking often backfires at exactly the wrong moment, right before you need the money. The real answer sits in the middle. A strategy matched honestly to your actual timeline, not your fear. If retirement is 15 or more years away, you likely have more room for growth investments than you assume. If retirement is 5 years away, your strategy should shift gradually, not overnight in a panic. Gradual shifts protect you from both extremes. Too much risk, too late. Too little growth, too early. Let me tell you about Robert, 63, who had kept every dollar in a basic savings account. He was terrified of the stock market after watching his father lose money decades earlier. A simple, diversified, moderate approach let him finally put his money to work without reliving that fear. He did not need to become a stock picker. He needed a strategy that matched his real timeline. This is not investment advice specific to your situation. It is a nudge to actually review yours honestly. If you have not looked at your investment mix in years, this week is the week to finally look. A short conversation with a fee-only financial professional can clarify more in an hour than years of guessing. Now, even with a solid plan, life happens. So let's build something most people skip entirely: a backup plan. A backup plan is not a sign of failure. It is a sign of maturity. Pilots always have one. Option 1. Part-time work in retirement, not out of desperation, but by design. Many retirees find that some structured work, even a few hours a week, actually improves their quality of life. It is not just about the income. It is about purpose, routine, and staying connected to people. Option 2. Downsizing. Not as a last resort, but as a deliberate move toward more freedom. A smaller home can mean lower expenses, less maintenance, and more cash freed up for the life you want. Option 3. A flexible retirement age. Retiring at 68 instead of 65 is not defeat. Those extra working years dramatically increase your savings while shrinking the number of years you need to fund. That combination, more saved and fewer years to cover, can transform a shaky plan into a solid one. None of these backup options are admissions of failure. They are tools. Use the ones that fit your life. Having a backup plan actually reduces your anxiety today, even if you never end up needing it. It is the emotional equivalent of knowing exactly where the fire extinguisher is, even in a house that never burns. So pick one backup option today. Just one. Write it down as a possibility, not a certainty. Knowing you have options changes how you feel about the whole plan, starting right now. Let's talk about the mindset shift that determines whether any of this actually sticks. Progress over perfection. Most people wait for the perfect plan before they start. The perfect plan never arrives on schedule. While you wait for perfect, imperfect action is quietly compounding for everyone who already started. A 1% contribution increase today beats a perfect 5% plan you start next year. This is not about doing everything right. It is about doing one honest thing consistently. Consistency beats intensity almost every single time when the timeline is measured in years, not weeks. Think about brushing your teeth. Small, boring, repeated, and it protects something valuable for decades. Your retirement contributions can become exactly that boring and exactly that protective once the habit is set. The goal is not to feel motivated every single month. Motivation fades. Systems do not. Automate what you can. Contributions, transfers, bill payments. Remove the daily willpower requirement entirely. Willpower is a limited resource. Systems run quietly in the background, whether you feel motivated or not. Here is something worth remembering on the hard days. You are not trying to win a race against strangers. You are trying to build a life that feels steady, secure, and genuinely yours. That is a completely different goal than beating anyone else's number, and it is far more achievable. Progress over perfection also means forgiving your past self for the years you did not plan. You cannot go back and fix 20 years ago. You can absolutely shape the next 20. Guilt is heavy and useless cargo. Leave it behind and travel lighter toward the plan instead. Now let's turn all of this into something concrete. A simple, real timeline you can follow starting today. This month, do 3 things. Calculate your honest number. Increase your contribution rate. Find your one silent expense leak. That is it for this month. 3 moves. Not 50. 3. This year, review your investment mix once with a real professional and revisit your number every quarter. Quarterly check-ins keep the plan alive without letting it consume your entire mental energy. Also this year, take one real step toward increasing your income, whether a raise, a skill, or a side project. Over the next 5 years, aim to close the majority of your gap through steady, boring, consistent contributions. Revisit your backup options every year, not because you need them yet, but because clarity reduces fear. Adjust your investment risk gradually as you get closer, shifting a little each year rather than all at once. 5 years from now, look back and compare your gap today to your gap then. Notice the difference. That comparison, not some stranger's retirement age, is the only scoreboard that actually matters. Let's bring this all together now, because you have covered a lot of ground in the last few minutes. You learned that feeling late is not the same as being unable to catch up. Those are different things entirely. You learned to get your honest number, the real gap between where you stand and where you want to be. You learned that enough is personal, built from your own picture of an ordinary future Tuesday. You learned to use catch-up contributions, one of the few genuine advantages built into this stage of life. You learned to hunt for 1 or 2 silent expense leaks instead of cutting your whole life down to nothing. You learned that increasing income, even modestly, can move your gap faster than cutting ever could alone. You learned to match your investment strategy to your real timeline, not to fear or blind aggression. You learned to build a backup plan, not as a failure, but as quiet, practical insurance for peace of mind. And you learned that progress, not perfection, is what actually gets you across this particular finish line. None of this requires you to be a financial expert. It requires you to be honest and consistent. You are not too late. You were never too late. You were simply waiting for a real plan. Now you have one. 20 minutes tonight is all it takes to start turning this plan into motion. Open your accounts. Write down your honest number. Take the first small step before you close this video. Tell me in the comments which step you are starting with this week. I read every single one. If this video gave you a clearer picture of your path, share it with someone else who needs to see it too. Subscribe for more honest, practical guidance built for people who are done guessing about their future. You have more time and more power than the fear told you. Go prove it to yourself, starting tonight. Let's go a little deeper on getting your honest number, because most people stop at the surface. Beyond your account balances, factor in any pension you might receive, even a small one. Factor in projected government retirement benefits too. They matter more than most people give them credit for. These predictable income sources reduce how much your personal savings actually need to cover a loan. Many people feel hopeless because they only counted their savings and forgot these other pieces entirely. Once you add every piece together, the picture often looks meaningfully less frightening than before. Also account for any debt-free assets, like a paid-off home, which quietly reduce future expenses. A mortgage that disappears before retirement is effectively a raise you give your future self. Write all of this down together: savings, pensions, benefits, and paid-off assets, in one single honest picture. That complete picture, not the scary number floating in your head, is your real starting point. Let's also go deeper on defining what enough really means, because vague goals produce vague plans. Try writing down 3 specific things you want your retirement mornings to actually include. Maybe it is a slow walk. Maybe it is time in a workshop. Maybe it is simply nowhere to be. Now write down 3 specific things you want your retirement evenings to include as well. These small, concrete images are far more motivating than an abstract dollar figure ever could be. Your brain does not get excited about a spreadsheet cell. It gets excited about a specific, felt future. Use that felt future as fuel on the days the plan feels tedious or slow. Let's expand on catch-up contributions with one more practical layer most people never consider. If you receive any bonus, tax refund, or unexpected windfall, consider routing a portion straight into savings. Money that never touches your regular spending habits is far less likely to quietly disappear. Consider also automatically increasing your contribution rate by 1% every time you get a raise. You never miss money you never actually saw hit your regular paycheck in the first place. This single habit alone, done consistently, can meaningfully shrink your gap over just a few years. Let's go deeper on cutting expenses. Because the goal is precision, not deprivation. Print or pull up your last 3 months of spending and look for anything that repeats without adding real value. Ask a simple, honest question about each recurring charge. Would I miss this if it vanished tomorrow? If the honest answer is no, that is your signal. Cancel it, downgrade it, or renegotiate it this week. Redirect every dollar you free up directly into your retirement contribution. Do not let it quietly absorb elsewhere. A freed-up dollar with no destination tends to disappear into everyday spending within weeks. A freed-up dollar with a destination becomes part of your future, automatically, month after month. Let's go a little deeper on increasing income too, because this step scares people the most. You do not need permission to ask for more. Prepare 3 concrete examples of value you have delivered. Numbers, outcomes, results. Specific evidence moves conversations further than general effort ever does. If a raise is not available right now, look sideways instead of only looking up. A lateral move to a company that values your exact experience can produce a bigger jump than years of waiting. If a side project fits your life better, choose something that uses skills you already have, not skills you must build from zero. Starting from existing strength shortens the distance between an idea and actual extra income. Let's go deeper on investment strategy with one more grounding idea. Diversification is not about complexity. It simply means not placing your entire future on a single company, a single sector, or a single bet. A broad, low-cost, diversified approach has historically outperformed most people's attempts to pick individual winners. You do not need to beat the market. You need the market's long-term growth working quietly in your favor. Simplicity is not a compromise here. For most people, simplicity is actually the smarter, steadier choice. Let's go deeper on your backup plan with one more idea worth real consideration: location flexibility. Some retirees find real financial breathing room simply by relocating somewhere with a meaningfully lower cost of living. This is not for everyone, and it does not have to mean leaving everything familiar behind forever. But knowing it exists as an option adds one more layer of flexibility to your overall plan. Flexibility, more than any single number, is what actually protects you from an uncertain future. Let's clear up a few common myths that keep good people stuck in unnecessary fear. Myth 1. You need $1 million saved. That number depends entirely on your expenses, your location, and your other income sources. It is not universal. Chasing someone else's magic number can lead you to either overwork unnecessarily or give up prematurely. Myth 2. It is too late to make a real difference after 50. This one is simply false. 15 years of consistent contributions is still a meaningful runway for real growth to happen. Even 10 years, even 5 years, still matters. Every year of consistent action moves the number. Myth 3. You need to understand complicated investment jargon to build real wealth. Also false. A simple, consistent, diversified approach beats a complicated strategy nobody actually sticks with long term. Myth 4. Asking for help means you have failed. Actually, asking for help early is what prevents failure. A short conversation with a trusted, fee-only advisor can save you years of confused guessing. There is no trophy for figuring this out completely alone. There is only the outcome you actually get. Let me tell you about one more story. 2 brothers, both 54, starting from very different places. One had significant savings, but felt completely lost about strategy. The other had modest savings, but a clear plan. Within 3 years, the brother with the clear plan had closed more of his gap, despite starting with less. Clarity. applied consistently. Beat raw savings applied without direction. That pattern repeats again and again. This is not to say savings do not matter. They absolutely do. But direction multiplies what you already have. So if you feel behind on savings but ahead on clarity, do not underestimate what you are actually holding. And if you feel ahead on savings but behind on clarity, today is the day that changes. Let's talk briefly about the emotional side of this, because the numbers are only half the story. Money anxiety often has less to do with the actual number and more to do with feeling out of control. The moment you build a plan, even an imperfect one, you regain a sense of control over your own story. That sense of control tends to matter more for daily peace of mind than the exact size of the number itself. People with modest but well-planned retirements often report more peace than people with large but chaotic ones. Peace of mind is not purchased with money alone. It is built through clarity, structure, and honest planning. Keep that in mind on the days the spreadsheet feels heavier than the actual goal deserves. You are allowed to close the laptop, take a walk, and come back to the numbers with fresh eyes tomorrow. This process is a marathon, conducted at a very comfortable, sustainable pace, not a sprint against a deadline. Let's expand the simple timeline a little further, because specificity is what turns intention into action. This week, find your account logins. That alone removes a surprisingly large barrier for most people. This week, also write down your top 3 silent expenses. Just identify them. Do not act yet. Next week, cancel or renegotiate the biggest of those 3. Just one. Momentum matters more than speed. Within 30 days, increase your retirement contribution rate by at least 1%, ideally more. Within 60 days, schedule one honest conversation, whether with a professional or simply with your spouse or partner. Shared plans tend to stick better than solo secrets. Bring the people in your life into this process. Within 90 days, take your first concrete step toward increasing income, whichever path fits your life. By the end of this year, review your investment strategy once, with fresh, honest eyes. By the end of this year, also choose your preferred backup option and simply write it down somewhere visible. Over the next 5 years, revisit this entire process every single year, adjusting as your real life changes. Plans are not carved in stone. They are living documents that grow and shift alongside your actual life. 5 years from today, the version of you reading this timeline again will barely recognize how far you came. That is not a promise of perfection. It is a promise that consistent, honest action compounds, quietly and reliably. One more thing before we close. Talk to your family about this plan, even if the conversation feels awkward. Silence around money creates isolation. Honest conversation, even an imperfect one, creates support and accountability. You do not have to carry this plan alone. Let the people who love you actually help carry it too. There is real strength in saying out loud, "I want help building this," instead of quietly struggling in private. That strength, more than any single financial tactic, is often what actually determines whether a plan survives. Let's answer a few quick questions people ask most often about starting later than they hoped. What if I have almost nothing saved right now? Start exactly where you are. The math still works. Every single dollar saved from today forward still has years to grow. 0 is simply a starting line, not a verdict. What if my spouse and I disagree about money habits? Start with the honest number together, not the argument. Facts tend to lower the emotional temperature of money conversations far better than opinions ever do. What if I already made big mistakes with money in the past? So has almost everyone your age. Past mistakes are data, not identity. Use the lesson. Release the shame. Keep walking forward. What if the market drops right after I finally start contributing more? It will, at some point. That is normal. Markets have always moved in cycles. A long, steady timeline is built specifically to absorb those cycles. What if I am scared to even look at the number? That fear is completely normal, and it fades fast once you look. Almost everyone who finally checks their number feels relief within minutes, not more fear. The anticipation is almost always worse than the actual number sitting quietly in your account. What if my income simply cannot stretch any further right now? Then focus first on the smallest possible increase. Even a fraction of a percent started today beats waiting for perfect financial conditions that may never arrive. What if I need to keep working past the age I originally hoped? That is a valid, dignified outcome, not a failure. Many people find unexpected purpose and connection in working a little longer, on their own terms. The goal was never to stop working the earliest possible day. The goal is to have real choice about it. Choice, more than an early exit date, is the actual prize at the end of this entire plan. Let's talk for a moment about healthcare, because it quietly shapes more retirement plans than people expect. Healthcare costs tend to rise as we age, and they deserve a specific line in your honest number. Research what coverage options exist for your specific age and situation well before you actually need them. Understanding this ahead of time removes one more source of late-night worry from the whole equation. A health savings style account, if available to you, can be one more quiet, tax-advantaged tool worth using. Every tool you stack together, even a small one, adds real strength to the overall structure of your plan. Let's also talk briefly about debt, because carrying it into retirement changes your real number significantly. High-interest debt in particular deserves aggressive attention before extra dollars go anywhere else. Paying off a high-interest balance is often a guaranteed return that no investment can reliably match. Lower interest debt, like a reasonable mortgage, deserves a calmer, more balanced approach alongside your saving. There is no single universal rule here. There is only your specific numbers, examined honestly and calmly. Let's close this section with one final grounding thought before we wrap everything together. You picked up this video because some part of you refused to stay stuck in vague anxiety any longer. That instinct, the refusal to stay stuck, is actually the single most important ingredient in this entire plan. Systems and numbers matter enormously, but they only work once someone decides to actually begin. You have already begun, simply by watching this far and thinking seriously about your own real numbers. Carry that momentum into tonight. Do not let it cool off by tomorrow, or next week, or next month. Momentum built today compounds just like money does. Both grow quietly stronger the longer you keep feeding them. You are capable of building a retirement that feels secure, intentional, and genuinely yours. Not because you never worried, because you finally turned that worry into a real, workable plan. That transformation, from anxious guessing to grounded planning, is available to you starting right now. So here is the very last question of this video. Not, are you late? Just, what will you do tonight? Whatever you choose it on purpose, with your eyes open and your real number finally in hand. Thank you for spending this time thinking seriously about your future. That decision alone matters more than you know. If you found this useful, like the video so it reaches more people quietly carrying the same worry you had. Subscribe, share this with someone who needs it, and I will see you in the next honest, practical video. One last practical note before we go. Keep this plan visible. Do not bury it in a forgotten folder. Put your honest number somewhere you will actually see it. A notebook on your desk, a note on your fridge. Visibility keeps a plan alive. Invisibility is exactly how good intentions quietly die within a few months. Revisit this plan on the same day every month if that structure helps you stay consistent. Consistency does not require perfection. It only requires showing up honestly, again and again, over time. You started this video feeling behind. I hope you are ending it feeling something closer to ready. Ready does not mean fearless. It simply means you finally know where you stand and what to do next. That is more than most people ever give themselves permission to have. And now, you have it. Go take that first honest step tonight. Your future self is already quietly grateful that you did.